It can be a little scary, knowing that you're kind of at the forefront of new treatment methods.
It is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive.
People have been, effectively brainwashed. I was one of those, to believing that any drug was just inherently bad.
We've been taught all drugs are bad, but what if we're getting it wrong? Isn't it possible psychedelics could be more than a party drug?
And I think we're just afraid of anything that's like really, really, really powerful. Anything really powerful, like splitting the atom, can be harnessed for massive destructive energy or massive benefit, like a nuclear power plant. And so I think psychedelics are like splitting the atom.
Dylan is trying to push the way that we think about our mental health. So maybe it's time we rethink our relationship with psychedelics.
It's this wildly powerful neurotechnology that can rewire people's entire patterns of thinking and behaving and being. And so that's just going to inherently be very, very scary. And it should be very scary. Like, these things are really, really powerful, and they need to be treated with a lot of intelligence and respect.
This is a show about founders challenging the status quo.
How's it going? Really good. I thought I had it all figured out. Type A, achieved in school, had friends, a girlfriend, but I started realizing that I was deeply unhappy. I did not have a positive relationship with other people and the world around me.
Dylan isn't alone. Exacerbated by the pandemic, the mental health crisis is on the rise. 1 in 5 Americans are currently seeking treatment, and there's a good chance that you know someone who struggles with their mental health.
When you dig into the clinical research around existing treatment options like antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds and talk therapy, you should get a really bleak picture.
Mainstream antidepressants actually only work for 40 to 47% of people. They're a daily medication and can take 4 to 8 weeks to work.
And so from there, I started exploring different routes. And we have one medicine that is clinically shown to be significantly better than all existing treatment options, and that's ketamine therapy. Ketamine is utterly fascinating for a lot of reasons, but its history is one of the most interesting parts about it. Ketamine was FDA approved in 1970 as an anesthetic. And since that time, it has become one of the most ubiquitous anesthetics in the world because it's such a safe anesthetic. It's one of the only ones that doesn't depress your breathing and your heart rate. Well, about 20 years ago, we started to discover that at really low sub-anesthetic doses, it has these incredible antidepressant properties.
Mindbloom's research into their ketamine therapy has shown to get a clinically significant result in just a few sessions. That's 80 to 90% faster compared to common antidepressants, and only 5% of users report any kind of side effects.
And because it was FDA approved in 1970 as a safe, efficacious medicine, that means today it is legally prescribable.
When you think about ketamine, it's sort of like trying to explain the cosmos by just looking at the stars.
It's very dreamlike. It feels like you're entering a place internally that you can't necessarily access all the time. I've been doing ketamine treatments for about 5 months now. And in that time, I have quit drinking, I have quit smoking cannabis, and I have been able to eliminate 3 psychiatric medications.
Psychedelics gives the person the opportunity to heal in many different levels.
The effects of ketamine on the brain are complex. One of the things ketamine does is enhance its brain's neuroplasticity. That's its ability to create connections. It lets you more easily learn and change your patterns and behaviors.
I kind of get to see my mind from a bird's eye view. But if you go into ketamine thinking it's going to be a silver bullet that is going to fix you, you're going to be disappointed.
We're not talking about people just hanging out doing MDMA in a rave. We're talking about people doing some very solid and deep trauma work where most of it is experiencing painful material.
Incorporating psychedelics into therapy is allowing for a change in the way we approach treatments. You're not just taking ketamine and going about your day. It's an active inner exploration. Some best practices are intention setting and journaling, so you can carry your insights into your daily life.
It can be a little scary knowing that you're at the forefront of new treatment methods, but overall, I wouldn't change a thing. And I know that I'll be continuing in the future. Thank you. Bye.
Ketamine is currently the only legally prescribable psychedelic, but in the next 3 years, we're likely to see MDMA and psilocybin get FDA approved.
If you told me we would be where we are today a couple years ago, my mind would explode. I grew up with a family that was just annihilated by mental illness, like schizophrenia in my family. My mother was an addict. Ultimately, we lost her to it, and she spent 15 years homeless before dying of a fentanyl overdose. And through those experiences, I came to really prioritize my own mental health and well-being because I was so afraid of falling into the path that she fell into. Like, how do we live happy, fulfilled lives? And you look around and just see that there's a problem.
The promise of psychedelics is exciting, but with more companies like Mindbloom entering the space, things like rare negative cases and supported versus unsupported experiences need more research before we see them fully accepted.
Psychedelic therapy for me helped catalyze a fundamental transformation where I was able to connect with other people, connect with humanity as a whole, and shift from being a pessimist to an optimist. And so one of the things I'm really excited about isn't just destigmatizing like mental health and well-being and psychedelic therapy and ketamine therapy, but it's helping to be a part of shepherding in this movement that I'm seeing around a transition from old medicine to new medicine. And I think we are on this precipice where as a society you can see that people are really starting to internalize and understand that your mental health and well-being is just as critical as your physical health and well-being. And it's clear to me as day that ketamine is going to utterly change, how we think about mental health and how we treat it.
It's hard to know what the future of our mental health care will look like, but perhaps psychedelics may help us rethink how we approach our mental well-being.